Be excellent to each other.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Logic clearly dictates.
If you ask ChatGPT, tell me about space, you'll get something that sounds like it was copied from an encyclopedia. Kind of boring. But if you ask ChatGPT, explain black holes to a 10-year-old, but make it sound like Yoda as a teacher, you'll get something that'll make you smile. Well, it'll make me smile, and you'll remember it, and maybe even share it with somebody. The difference isn't the AI, it's really how you use it. And today, we're talking about the strengths and weaknesses of ChatGPT and some simple rules you can follow to use it wisely.
Talking about gadgets, games, and gears. AI buzzing in your ears. Parents, teachers, kids unite. We're learning tech and doing it right. Oh, it's a tap, swipe, scroll kind of show where zeros and ones are ready to go. From old school DOS to robots that talk, we're jamming with Mr. Fred's Tech Talks.
Welcome back to Mr. Fred's Tech Talks. I'm your host, Mr. Fred, and in episode 8, we went under the hood and saw how large language models, like ChatGPT, actually learned. But knowing how it's trained is really only half the story. Today, we're going to focus on how you can interact with it and where its strengths are, where it shines, where it struggles, and how you can get the best results without falling into some of the traps that exist out there. Now, as I'm recording this, these chatbots are evolving quite regularly. It seems like every few months, there's enhancements. Sometimes it feels like they're getting a lot better, and every now and then, it feels like it takes a slight step back, but make no doubt about it. Whenever you listen to this podcast, things are changing. So I'm hoping, regardless of those changes, these tips will still be relevant. But if they're not, well, we'll just evolve those too. So let's start off by talking about ChatGPT's superpowers. First and foremost, it's like an idea factory. It's great for brainstorming. If you're a teacher, you could ask it to give you advice on how to explain certain concepts, like how to explain fractions to fifth graders. It's also a really cool tool for parents. If your son or daughter or your kids are struggling with writing an essay, you can go over to the ChatGPT and you can use it to create a framework that you can then lean on and guide your kids. That's a really great way to use it and interact with your young people, right? Now, the other thing too is if you're a professional and you were looking for something to be explained, this is also a great tool to do that with. I'm sure you know that already. For example, if you're a professional and you need to know something about cloud computing, you could say, explain cloud computing as if I'm brand new to tech, and it'll give you something. Its strength really, though, isn't that it knows everything. It's more about the structure and how it gives the information to you quickly and flexibly. But there are some weaknesses, right? There are some traps. We talked in the last episode about hallucinations, about how it makes things up, and it sounds pretty confident. Biases exist because the training data that was used really wasn't all the best, so that could sneak into the answers. And sometimes when you get the results, the voice could sound a little bland. If you don't guide it, it sounds generic. Now, here's an example. If you did a prompt such as, write a short biography of George Washington, you're going to get what I would call textbook oatmeal. But if you said, write a 100-word biography of George Washington in the style of a movie, a Marvel movie trailer narrator, suddenly that's going to be a lot more interesting and epic, kind of fun. But the trap is really clear. You don't always get what you want if you don't guide it. It sounds, I don't know, in a way to me, it sounds pretty commonsensical. Like, if you don't guide somebody or something, you never really get what you want. But we have this weird expectation with these chatbots that it can anticipate us. We're not there yet. Now, it can get to know you over repeated use if you're logged in, but still, it needs to be guided. So let's just talk about how we can guide it a little bit better. I like to give my students what I call frameworks. The first one I'm going to talk about, though, is in order to use ChatGPT more wisely, we're going to talk about what I call the 3 golden rules. And they're real easy to remember. I think you'll get this once I say it. The first thing you want to do is frame it. Always give ChatGPT a role or a perspective. So say something like, act as a patient math coach for a nervous middle schooler. Then you're going to want to filter it. Don't trust the first draft. Never trust it. But check the facts, compare, and then refine it by doing another prompt. And last but not least, you can finesse it. Always add your own touch. Don't let the AI be the final voice. Make sure it does sound like you. So frame it, filter it, finesse it. Simple, memorable, right? You can do that. But I'm going to give you a pro tip one. This is an acronym that's floating around a lot in the AI sphere, we'll call it. There's a lot of advice on this stuff, but I'm going to give it to you here. It may be the first time you're hearing it, and maybe the 10th time you're hearing it. The acronym I'm going to give you is called CRAFT. So you're going to use this when you're getting ready to do your prompting. When you really want a strong response, remember to craft your prompts. So C stands for context. You're going to want to give background. Such as like you're helping a 5th grader. Now, when you do that, one of the things that you want to be doing is kind of like priming the AI. Right there at the text box, you're going to put in that statement. It's not even stated as a question. You're just setting the stage. In other words, you are shaping the context or creating the context of where you're about to take the AI. So that's C, that's context. Next, you're going to want to assign it a role or a perspective. So as an expert history teacher, or as a senior level software developer, or as a search engine optimization expert with 30 years of experience in marketing. You could do things like that where you assign it a role, and you'll see some very interesting results. Okay, that was the R. Next in the acronym is the A, ask. So be clear about the task. Something like summarize in 3 bullet points, and then kind of go from there. And that leads you really into the next one. That's the F. That's formatting it. Tell it your output style. Write it as a short story or put it into a table format. And then last but not least is T. You're going to tell it to set the tone. Something like make it encouraging or simple, even fun. You could put all that into that prompt window at that point. So that's craft. Context, role, ask, format, tone. If you follow the craft, you're going to see that your results are no longer just generic. They're really going to be tailored to you, and it'll be a lot more effective. Now, with these golden rules or craft, you do want to continue to think about ultimately the scenarios. All right, let's hop over to this episode's tech tip. End your prompt with the phrase, give me 3 different versions. Instead of one answer, you'll get multiple options. It's kind of like walking into a room and asking 3 people for their ideas, and then suddenly you've got a variety of responses, and then one of them might really spark the exact direction you need to go. So try that out next time. For those of you who are just coming in and you're new to the podcast, you may not know my background, but I'm a former U.S. Marine Corps officer. And as a young lieutenant, we were all instructed on how to do land navigation. I didn't have the slick GPS stuff that's out there or any kind of mapping software that we see today. We were given hard copy topographical maps, a lensatic compass, and sometimes just a flashlight at night. Now, these tools could point me in the right direction, but they didn't walk the terrain for me. I had to read the map. I had to adjust for conditions like fog and rain and snow, and then I made the final call. So ChatGPT kind of works the same way. It can give you direction and structure and ideas, but you're the one who has to navigate it, adapt it, and then decide which path to take. The biggest takeaway from this episode is this. ChatGPT is only as useful as how you guide it. Use the golden rules. Apply the craft framework. And always remember, you're the navigator. I often say this to my students. Technology doesn't solve our problems. People solve problems. And AI is a tool. And if you use it right, it could be a really powerful tool. All right, that is episode 9 of Mr. Fred's Tech Talks, and we explored ChatGPT's strengths, its weaknesses, and I gave you 2 powerful frameworks: the golden rules and the craft method for creating your prompts, so use that wisely. But here's a question on everyone's mind. Does ChatGPT actually learn from what I type into it? And that's what we're going to explore in episode 10. That answer may surprise you. But until then, keep tinkering, keep experimenting, and always stay curious.
Stay on target.